I'm really pleased now to hand over to Clarice, who's going to tell us about what's happening in the UK Green Party. So over to you, Clarice. Right, I'm really sorry, it's not Clarice, it's Claudine. Sorry, I'm so sorry, because Clarice is also here helping with tech.
I am, a human rights and Indigenous people's rights campaigner or activist. I'm holding space currently and agitating in the Green Party of England and Wales, and that's my Twitter account. So I think what's more important, really, what's the organizational structure of the Green Party? The Green Party is what we call Green Party of England and Wales. It's officially sort of known as Green Party. It's sadly very badly organized, and like other parties, was actually subject to sort of infiltration by gender ideology activists that have actually taken quite a lot of position within the party and sort of really diverted it from the initial concepts of actually really a climate organization that actually would be agitating politically to try and actually gain trajectory for climate issues. Why is this so important? Because what's happening now, a number of gender ideology activists have actually managed to gain positions within the party, and really they use any means possible to try and actually get rid of the opposition. They've silenced women. There are a lot of women that actually have been removed from the party, despite the processes that are meant to be there to actually, protect everybody and actually be fair, but those processes have not been fair. What has also happened is that the weaponizing of our disciplinary system has actually been so immense in the party, has actually caused loads of problems. So it is bad because most members do not know what's actually happening. So we have an opportunity as women in your local areas to actually think very long and hard about how do you actually engage and start thinking around grassroots campaigning for women sex-based rights. So this is available on the Green Party website. Generally, what you actually have as a proposal for the changes in the Green Party. But what we have actually 2 conferences a year, as other parties would have. We have Standing Orders Committee, which actually really interprets our constitution. We have a council, or what we call GPEX, what we actually call, in a sense, it's our executive that actually runs the day-to-day running of the party. And then we have the staff team that are actually employed by the party, which actually make up quite a lot of a huge percentage. About 60 people actually make the members that are actually paid. So why is this important? Why am I showing you? Why am I showing you this? It is important because if you don't understand any structure of any party, when you join, you would be not aware what's actually happening in that party. So it is actually quite key and important to actually keep yourself knowledgeable of the changes that are happening. We have our own issues, in particular with the gender ideology. So what's actually happening at the moment? What's happening at the moment? We actually have a leadership election, which is important. So what actually happened? Within the year of the term, Jonathan Bartley stood down as co-leader in June. This actually triggered what we call a by-election within the party. So their job share, Sian Berry had to actually stand down until the by-election. So there's a big letter that she actually put down that actually really just cites transphobia within the party as a reason for her resignation. And she also specifically targeted one of the spokesperson in this regard. So it is quite key to be aware of this very issue that Sian Berry was actually sort of referring to, because this is the issue that created the biggest problem within the party. So just looking at the previous leadership election in 2020, the turnout is very low. And these are the problems that we always have within parties. The turnout very low. Active members within the parties, although we have 50,000 plus members, turnout is always very low on election. So any part of the party that can actually mobilize their members would always actually get the positions in any other positions. So it's actually very important for people to really be aware of this. If you're joining the party, if you're thinking you can make a difference in political parties, please join in, become active, so that then you will really stem the huge turnout of problems within parties. So the resignation letter, please go and look at it. I'll actually just post this in the chat later. So go and look at the resignation letter, because it really cites transphobia as a reason for her standing down. So it is actually quite important. It's a public knowledge. It's not something that I'm actually making up myself. So who are the contenders? Because I think it's actually quite important to really outline what's actually happening currently. I think someone that's actually standing out, standing on the basis of sex-based rights, and has been consistently throughout, not only his previous standing for the leadership election, the previous one, is Shara Ali. Shara has been outstanding in standing for women. He has, in most of his dealings, really been a passionate supporter of women's based rights. And in his actions, most people actually talk about, protecting women's rights. They only talk about it. They don't actually do the actions that actually supports that. But he's been actively doing that within the party, agitating, obviously getting really negative feedback and pushback from, the gender ideology, cabal, I call them, but accusing him of everything else to try and actually get rid of him. So it's actually been interesting. So really, if you are in the Green Party, please vote Shara Ali as your first preference, because it's only one person that actually stand up for the rights of women and actively doing so. So the next choice would be Martin Hemingway and Tina Rothery. So it is important that they are not, I would say, not gender critical per se, but they are people that actually have been in the party for a long time, and they just stand on the values of the party. So they would be the next possible people that actually can stand. And my advice would be, then you actually ask for a reopen of nominations. But the other candidates is Adrian, Carla, and another Adrian, Amelia, and Tasmin. So you have seen, I'm not sure how many people have seen the link. So this is the leadership election where Shara was presenting her case and Amelia was actually shouting him down. It's absolutely interesting to actually really see the women that are saying standing for women's rights, but they do exactly the opposite to actually support their side. It's actually quite disheartening to see, especially in a party that actually should be standing for equal rights, with very big philosophical basis. That actually why I joined the Green Party. I wasn't a member of any other party, but I joined because of those big philosophical bases that actually protected all rights and regarding everybody as the same. So clearly this is not the case within the party at present. So it is, I think for me, it's something that's actually been very important to actually highlight and see. So just actually going back to my slide. So the important thing really, and I've actually also put a Wikipedia link, which actually is very detailed because it goes through what Shara has been put through. So they've actually tried to smear him with anti-Semitism. They've tried to actually use the complaint system to get rid of him. He's now currently a spokesperson. They've tried to actually stop him from being a spokesperson for the Green Party. So they've used all manner of methods to try and actually detract everybody from actually supporting him at all. So, and they have been in their venom, they're actually also being racist, what I would regard as actually racist, but because they actually stand for kind of trans rights, appears as if actually nobody actually recognizes their racism against Eshara Ali. So it is really quite an awful thing to actually observe as someone from the party who is actually within the Green Party. But the other issues that he's actually raised very strongly is the position of Stonewall's diversity scheme that most parties are actually a party for. Most government departments continue to actually be a party for, despite Stonewall actually misinterpreting the law or, gainfully to try and actually push a certain idea. So where there is meant to be sex, they're actually using gender, and all other things that they've actually tried to actually, detract from other issues, in particular on women's rights. Why am I talking about human rights? These are fundamental rights. No human right is greater than the other. So it is important for women to actually really make this their Bible, because that's the only thing that you can actually fight against the tyranny that's actually happening. So it's so important for us to organize in parties, if we are in parties. If you're not in parties, if you feel very strongly, please do think about actually joining parties, because this is where all the decisions are made, the policies are made, where bills are brought in by different party MPs. You can actually bring a private member's bill, and they get lobbied quite a lot. So we have to actively lobby our own MPs. We have to lobby our own councillors in our local areas. We have to actually find out what's happening around sex-based rights. We have to actually get FIOs in these areas and actually really drill down on what's happening, because the other side would use nefarious ways. They would use the Denton's way of actually sort of, putting popular policies with their policies in. So they don't actually want us to deviate them, but women are rising. It's encouraging. So we're all actually getting in our local areas now that we actually allowed to be outside, and really we are agitating. So everybody has to actually support us when we agitate. So we need to also really support women that are agitating. I'm disappointed with what's happened to Marsha. Wishing her all the best. Rosie Duffy, constantly standing up for women's sex-based rights. It is important to actually support those women. So let's support them and make sure that they are really feeling supported, because the other side support their own. And thank you very much.